Have you ever found yourself dealing with someone who's constantly negative? Someone who twists your words, drains your energy, and makes peace feel like a distant dream? What do you do when you can't escape them? When you're forced to face toxic people head on? You may not always be able to walk away, but you can rise above them with wisdom. Welcome to Stoic Resolve. In today's video, we'll explore 14 smart ways to deal with toxic people, not through anger or retaliation, but through the grounded wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Let's begin with someone who knew deep suffering, Epictetus. Born into slavery and abused by his master, Epictetus understood what it meant to be under the control of someone toxic. And yet he didn't respond with hatred, but with endurance. He once said, "No man is free who has not learned to endure." So how can we apply that lesson to our modern lives, especially when we're forced to deal with toxic people? Number one, you can't fix them. This can be hard to accept, especially if you're someone who always sees the good in others. But one of the most damaging illusions when entering a toxic relationship is thinking you can change them. Genuinely toxic people are often unwilling or incapable of recognizing their own harmful behavior. Most of them don't even want to change. There's nothing wrong with having hope, but expecting change sets you up for disappointment. Be hopeful, but stay grounded. Care, but protect your peace. The moment you accept that you cannot fix them, you stop pouring energy into something that was never yours to fix. Number two, don't take it personally. Every time you react, you're giving them power. The best revenge? Don't absorb their poison. Let them release it and walk away untouched. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, would remind himself each morning, "Today I shall meet people who are meddling, self-absorbed, jealous, disloyal, envious, and spiteful." And he would add, "But none of these things can harm me unless I allow them to." Their behavior is not a reflection of you. It reflects their own struggles. Their inner battles are not yours to fight. You only control your thoughts, your reactions, and your peace. That's Stoic power. Number three, choose your battles wisely. Not every argument deserves your attention. Not every insult requires a response. If you try to fight every battle, you'll end up physically and emotionally drained. The Stoic path is about preserving your energy, responding only when it truly matters. Dale Carnegie once wrote, "A man with a tortured and warped personality will always find a reason to justify his behavior. Let him talk. Any attempt to change his mind will likely end in argument. So be smart. Be still. Don't waste energy trying to win over someone who has no interest in peace." Number four, know when to walk away. There comes a moment when you must admit it's time to leave. Maybe you've tried. Maybe you've stayed too long. But not every relationship can or should be saved. You might feel guilty. You might worry about what others will think. You might cling to old memories. But holding on to a toxic relationship slowly wears you down. The truth is, you can't help someone who won't help themselves. And if they're not ready to change, staying only makes things worse. Sometimes walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. We've talked about knowing when to walk away and letting go of toxic relationships. But the reality is, walking away isn't always easy, or even possible. So what now? You can't control other people, but you can control how you respond. Number five, adjust your sails, not the wind. You can't force someone to change if they're not willing. Seneca once said, "We can't always direct the wind, but we can adjust our sails." This applies perfectly to toxic relationships. You might not always be able to walk away, but you can adjust your attitude and lower your expectations. Stop expecting apologies, change, or decency. When you adjust your sails instead of fighting the wind, you preserve your inner peace, even in the middle of a storm. Number 6, don't engage with them. One of the biggest mistakes is falling into their trap, responding, arguing, or trying to teach them a lesson. In Toxic People, Maya Angelou explains that when facing someone toxic, you have two choices. You can either let them hijack your emotions and drag you into chaos, or stand firm and refuse to play their game. Because if you react, they'll just push harder, applying pressure until you break. Don't give them the satisfaction of winning. Stay firm. Refuse to engage. And remember, once you give in, they'll only demand more. Number 7, focus on solutions, not blame. It's easy to get caught up listing everything they've done wrong, but that doesn't lead anywhere. Why? Because deep down, you still hope they'll listen and change. But as we said, that's an illusion. Instead of blaming, ask, what can I do to improve this situation? Can you shift your mindset, change your response, or simply accept the situation as it is and move forward without expecting anything from them? Shifting the focus from them to yourself gives you power. And that's where real control begins. Number 8, don't waste time defending yourself. Healthy people are willing to listen when you point out something wrong. They reflect, and often they'll apologize. But toxic people, they're never wrong. In their minds, the blame always belongs to someone else. So don't waste your breath trying to defend yourself. You can express how you feel, but don't expect them to understand or to change. Sometimes letting them win in their own mind is the best way to maintain your peace in reality. Number 9, don't try to reason with them. If you start engaging in logical debate with a toxic person, you've already lost. They don't care about facts or reason. The only thing they care about is winning. By being louder, interrupting more, and appearing more persistent than you. You might have the most rational argument in the world, but to them, logic is irrelevant. What matters is throwing you off balance and making you lose control. Don't waste your precious time. Let them argue with themselves. Number 10, don't feed the trolls. That popular internet saying applies just as well in real life. Don't feed the trolls. When someone is deliberately provoking you, trying to hurt you, or driving you crazy, don't react. Even negative attention is still attention, and to them that's a reward. They thrive on being noticed. Don't give them that satisfaction. Number 11, set boundaries and stick to them. When dealing with toxic people, it's crucial to establish clear boundaries. These are the limits of what you will and won't tolerate. Maybe you decide you won't listen to their constant complaining, or perhaps you choose not to lend them money anymore. Whatever your boundaries are, be consistent. Don't let them test your limits and slide through just once, because they will keep pushing further. The more consistent you are, the more they'll realize you are not someone who can be easily controlled. We've talked about setting boundaries and not letting toxic people cross them. But to truly maintain your inner peace, boundaries alone aren't enough. You need inner strength. That's where the next principles come into play. Number 12, practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is never easy, especially when the person who hurt you is toxic, unapologetic, and unrepentant. But forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. Holding on to resentment is like clutching a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone. only to realize you're the one getting burned. Forgiving doesn't mean accepting or excusing their bad behavior. It simply means letting go of the anger and bitterness that's been poisoning you from the inside. You're not freeing them, you're freeing yourself. Forgiveness is the antidote for your soul. Number 13, take care of yourself. When dealing with toxic people, taking care of yourself isn't just important, it's essential for survival. Make sure you're eating well, getting enough sleep, and staying physically active. Don't sacrifice your mental health trying to endure a harmful relationship. You also need a support system, friends, family, or even a small community you trust. Sometimes something as simple as a walk alone, a short break, or even a few days away from the situation can help you come back with more strength and clarity. Number 14, accept that you can't please everyone. This may be one of the hardest truths to swallow, especially if you're someone who wants harmony, who wants to make others happy. But the reality is, you can't please everyone. You can't even please one person all the time, so stop trying. And if you happen to disappoint someone, apologize if necessary, then move on. Don't beat yourself up for not meeting someone else's unrealistic expectations. Final thoughts. Dealing with toxic people is never easy, but you absolutely can learn how to protect yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We hope the Stoic strategies shared in today's video have given you practical insight and a new way to approach these difficult relationships. Always remember, you might not be able to avoid toxic people completely, but you can choose not to let them ruin your day, your week, or your life. By applying these principles, you're not just protecting your sanity, you're building inner strength. You're becoming resilient, grounded, and stoic in the truest sense. If this video gave you clarity or helped you feel more at peace, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. And let us know in the comments which of the 14 strategies resonated with you the most. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. See you in the next video. Stay calm, stay strong, and live like a Stoic.